The Allied signers of the armistice thought that it would be more memorable if the peace began at 11. Little did they realize the horrible consequences their desire for numerological symmetry would have upon the lives of thousands of people. Now, this is just the mainstream media's attention to it. American General John Pershing, who opposed the armistice, sent out an order to observe the ceasefire at 11 a.m. Pershing's orders did not specify what to do between 5 a.m. and 11 a.m. 9 of the 16 American divisional commanders therefore pressed on with their attacks, which is absolutely insane. If you know you're going to be ending war in 6 hours, I mean, come on, people. Are you crazy? 7 commanders saw no point in putting their men's lives at risk, thank God, to take land that would be theirs to control in just a couple hours and refused to engage the enemy. In one of the more peculiar attacks on the morning of the war, General William M. Wright, commander of the 89th Division, ordered his troops to take the French village of Stenay from the Germans. Wright had heard that Stenay had bathing facilities and he wanted to capture them for his unit to enjoy. It cost his division 300 casualties. Stenay was the very last village captured by the Americans in World War I. Wright was replaced as commander the next day. One of the divisions that continued to fight was the 26th, or the Yankee Division. The 26th consisted almost entirely of soldiers from the 6th New England states, of course Connecticut, and had been engaged in battle for more days than any other American division except for the 1st Army Division. Over 60,000 nutmeggers fought in the 26th. Nearly 1,700 were killed and 7,300 were wounded. At 9 a.m. on the 11th of November, 9/11, the Yankee Division was ordered into battle at 9:10. That order was rescinded. However, at 9:30, the 26th was once again ordered into battle. They fought from 9:30 until the ceasefire at 11 and suffered 120 casualties. Probably the very last Connecticut man to die in World War I was Captain Harry H. Huffleting of Chester, Connecticut. Huffleting was part of the 307th Infantry Regiment of the 77th Division, mostly a New York unit. He was killed in action that morning while attacking the Germans. It's just unbelievable. He was the only man from Chester killed in the Great War, and he died within just an hour or so before the ceasefire. That reminds me of Lewis Milestone's fantastic film, and everybody should see it because it's a really true. It reveals the elites, how they control people, and the horrors of war. It's a great movie called All Quiet on the Western Front, which was written by Eric Mark, and Lewis Milestone, of course, made it into this pivotal film, probably one of the greatest films, honestly, about war that you'd ever seen. It rivals Private Ryan for sure, and any of these other contemporary films, who of course borrowed so much from it. Really good stuff. It shows the horrors of war, and the main character, Paul, again, he sees a butterfly, and it's right at the end of the war. There's like minutes to go, and he reaches for the butterfly, and a French soldier shoots him. Because he's a German soldier, and he's killed right at the end of the war. Actually, the war was, I believe, over. There were a lot of people that kept fighting after the war ended, by the way. But the importance is that you see, World War I and World War II were fought for bankers. This is a great thing to study. Now, research that. Understand how these wars begin, and understand that that the J.P. Morgan interests backed the Bolsheviks with the Rockefellers. Now, Morgan was basically an agent for the Rothschilds. Everyone made him out to be this wealthy guy, the biggest guy in the world, the wealthiest guy in the world, and of course was always the Rothschilds. Same thing like today, where they brag that Bill Gates and Buffett are the wealthiest men. When it's just a show, ladies and gentlemen. They are not even close to the elite, the absolute elite, the ruling class, the tip of the pyramid of the Illuminati. They are the show people. They are the spokespeople, those that they consider the elite, to shine away attention from themselves. That's the truth. And research that to be true. It's interesting how history continues to repeat itself, because the J.P. Morgan, who really again was a shell for the Rothschilds, he was just a cover. And then the Rockefellers, of course, who financed Hitler and the Nazis, and the Rothschilds also. The Rothschilds created Israel. interestingly enough, just like George Soros, who actually served up his own Jewish patriots, his own Jewish people, his own people to the Nazis. He was one of those that would oversee the murders and help them through. I mean, there were these people. I mean, this is just like hideous history that nobody talks about, and it is absolutely true and real. You can see the movie The Holocaust. I have it on my YouTube page. It's on a playlist. It's the whole thing. I got all. I think it's 6 hours or 7 hours, and there you will learn so much from watching that, and how it's related to what's going on now, from a film that was made in 1978 with Meryl Streep and other actors that became very famous after that. And interestingly enough, oh my God, I forget the actor's name. The one that played Carl in the Holocaust. He's a famous actor. He's the actor that saw them doing the tests on the plane for the hijacking. James Woods, that's right, of 9/11, and warned the FBI, and they did nothing. It's just ironic. I mean, it's just so ironic. But I do recommend everyone to go to my YouTube page, the We Are Change Connecticut YouTube page, which is youtube.com/Freedom First Films, and go on the playlists. And the playlist, you'll see the Holocaust. And it's just the way that it's done. You just have to you just have to change a few things. And some of the things are just eerily familiar to what's going on today. And I had chills watching it. And it's just a horrific thing, because it shows how a people can be manipulated and even not realize how bad what's going on, and then actually even accept the evil that's going on as normalcy. That is what we're going into. I mean, Obama wins the Peace Prize. So everything thinks he's a peace lover, but he's the most warmongering president we've had ever. Not ever, but certainly the highest with debt. But certainly has 6 wars going on. Now there's going to be more war, and they speak peace, but they make war, ladies and gentlemen. The UN Agenda 21, confiscating wood from Gibson. It's on and on and on and on, ladies and gentlemen, on and on. Confiscating wood for a law that's in India. One world government, one world banking, crush the economy, make everybody servants, have RFID chips put into your bodies eventually, starting with your driver's licenses and a national ID card, and Obama going to Hawaii of all places to meet with make the North American Union. I mean, this is what we're going to be talking about for the balance of the time today. So interestingly enough, going back to the beginning, is what does this great bastion of freedom do for our patriotic and loyal troops and God-fearing people that fight for liberty, that want to fight for liberty, and are fighting for ExxonMobil and Halliburton? Well, first of all, it's on record that until they complained, they treated them like garbage, unless they complained. The Walter Reed scandal, Halliburton having unsanitary water conditions for 10 years in Afghanistan and Iraq. Come on, this has all been on record. It's all about making money. The troops, Henry Kissinger said, the troops are pawns in this. They are useless. They are nothing. They're chattel. They're just to be used. And these people we call, the geniuses, the social engineers of the world. God help us. There was something called Project SHAD. Again, conspiracy theorists, you're a theorist, you're a conspiracy theorist, it doesn't happen, it never happened, blah, 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 for 20 years, 30 years. Finally, boom, it comes out that it's true. And the American government finally has to admit that it wasn't a conspiracy theory, that the government did do tests on everybody, including very heavily in the military, and to this day, they sign off that they can be used as guinea pigs when they become military soldiers. So, the guinea pigs, and they're not told that they're guinea pigs. I'm going to show a great segment on that in just a few minutes, where the actual Project SHAD victims, it's a great little 5-minute piece that describes this entire horrendous you know, deception. Now you got to understand what I'm trying to bring home, ladies and gentlemen, is that this is how they operate. This is their modus operandi. Okay. I'll liken it to this. We all know that if somebody robs, well, it's terrible that society does this, but if somebody's hungry and they steal for money to get food and they go to jail, that criminal record for that one offense that they did in desperation will haunt them for the rest of their lives, even though they might have paid their debt to society. That's part of this enslaving system. Part of this bringing you onto a socialist, communist, totalitarian, under the thumb of the nanny state. In this case, Big Sister. Okay? Because that's who we have here, Big Sister. Big Sis, Janet Napolitano. Okay? Now, these elites have socially engineered this system. They own the prisons, private prisons, so they need to fill them. Okay? They get the politicians, buy them off. It's very easy. I have another thing. I wasn't planning on showing it today, but you can go on and see where plenty of times where it shows you, Jack Abramoff tells you how to how easy it is for corporations to buy off politicians. You can Google that. Jack Abramoff. You know who he is, remember? Okay, so Project SHAD was basically using the Army as guinea pigs. It stands for Project Shipboard Hazard and Defense, a series of Cold War era tests by the United States Department of Defense of biological weapons and chemical weapons. Exposure of uninformed and unwilling humans during the testing to the test substances, particularly the exposure to the United States military personnel then in service, has been controversial to recent revelations of the project. Project SHAD was part of a larger effort by the Department of Defense called Project 112. The project began in 1962 during John F. Kennedy's administration, and it is largely believed that neither Kennedy nor subsequent presidents knew of Project 112 or SHAD. However, Robert McNamara, Kennedy's Secretary of Defense, did know and approved of these tests. All right? With that in mind, yes, I would like to play this very interesting short piece of the soldiers, I should say the Navy personnel, who were exposed to this test and others. And they were exposed to nuclear tests as well. There's footage you can just Google and see American soldiers walking towards mushroom cloud to see what the radiation effects would be. People were put in with animals, literally, they're hanging with animals to see the difference, how it would affect the animals and the people, and saying, don't worry, everything's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. Like Fukushima, everything's okay. Radiation levels are fine. Don't worry about the food. Don't worry about the water, the fish. Don't worry about anything. Okay? We raised the levels of acceptability so everything's okay. That's what we did. Okay? Don't worry about BP. Don't worry about core exit B in the water, in the food, in the shrimp down there. Don't worry. Come down to the Gulf Coast, spend your lives, eat, be merry, get cancer, and die soon. So Big Pharma can treat you, pump you up with some with more poisons, and make as much money as they can off of you before you die, and hopefully you're single, hopefully, so that they can just take all of your Social Security money. If not, half of it they get.